as n becomes large, I'm not exactly sure what this is, but as n becomes large, we can make this go as small as possible. Yes?
What does it mean individually most likely?
So that means there is one particular sequence that has maximum probability. So that's the solution to this equation. In other words, pick x1 through xn so that this is individually most likely. It's not we're not talking about a set of sequences, we're talking about the individual most likely sequence. So you said it yourself. So the individual most likely sequence has all tails.
That's the, I said it, visualizing that, not that it would be always tails, but it's theoretically it shows.
No, you're right. I mean, the individual sequence with the highest probability is all tails. But intuitively, we think such a sequence is very unlikely. And that makes sense because, for instance, 0.9 to the 10,000 is an extremely small number. So the probability of, even though this is the most likely sequence, there's such an enormous number of sequences that this particular sequence is extremely unlikely.
But all other sequences have less probability than this.
That's correct. But
the number is great.
Exactly. That's exactly it. So all other sequences have smaller probability, but for example, the typical set, there's such an enormous number of typical sequences that they wash out the probability. So in other words, even though this sequence is, if you put all of the sequences in a list of decreasing order probability, this one is at the top. This number is still so ridiculously small that this will never happen in practice. Even though this is at the top of the list of probability. However, all of the sequences in the typical set are the ones that will occur with essentially probability 1. And again, this is intuitive. We would expect that if we flip such a coin, that we would, for instance, 10,000 times, we would expect approximately 9,000 tails and 1,000 heads. It's unimaginable that we would have all tails. It's similarly unimaginable that we would have 9,900 tails and only 100 heads. That just seems extremely unlikely. So intuitively, this even makes sense. There is a problem, a problem in the sense of a problem in the back of the book that deals with this in Cover and Thomas. So if you're sufficiently interested, you can go look at that. So the resolution of this contradiction is that there are very few of these. So we can safely ignore them. Their probability weight is extremely small.